Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi ala ni'matil islami wa kafa biha ni'ma. All praise and gratitude be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on His blessing of Islam, which suffices as a blessing. So I'd like to welcome you on the 30th para. So we are nearly at the end of Quran, and today we are going to be looking at Surah An-Naba. Naba is a Makkan surah, and it literally means important news. So A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Amma yatasa'aloon. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, about what are they asking each other? So Quran is actually questioning people. What are they discussing with each other? What is this controversy about? I think one of the things that we really need to understand is that even if something is the greatest truth, but people say, well, this is a controversial issue, and the moment they say that, there's a confusion being created. Even for things that are proven facts, if people question them and say, well, this is a controversial issue, it will generate a certain amount of confusion in people. So something may be 100% bad, but it will become controversial, and as a result, for some people, it will become palatable. So even evil can become palatable and tolerable when people start to say, oh, there is a controversy over here. And sometimes people do give intellectual spins on these issues. And this is what Quran is warning people. Quran is saying, don't make this hereafter a controversial issue, because the significance and the importance of hereafter will be diminished in the hearts and eyes of people. An-Naba al-Azim, about the great news. So about what? About the great news. Naba could mean Qiyamat. That could be this news that is being discussed in Quran. It could also mean the Quran. So both these are, some of the commentators have said it means Qiyamat, others it is Quran. Is this what they are confused about, and they are questioning and debating? What are they confused and questioning about this? About which they differ. There are different views people have about Qiyamat, about the Akhirat. And these are kind of different shades. Some people outrightly deny, and they say, well, there is no such thing as hereafter. It's all about living in this world and then going, that's it, game, set, match. But the other people have a view which is kind of wavering. They have a view. Maybe there is a hereafter, maybe there is not. So it's not a firm belief. Now, some of these aqidas people have also is that, yeah, akhirat would be there, hereafter would be there, but then someone would come to our rescue. There would be some kind of an intercession. And some, openly also say, well, why would Allah want to send everyone to hell? Why would Allah want a large number of people to go to hell? Because He's Ghafoor and Rahim. He's just kind of threatening us. And this is what Quran says, about which they are differing. No, they will soon know. Again, no, they will soon know. So this kalla, the word that's being used over here, it's this negation of all these self-created aqidas about the false hope people have. Everything is being negated over here. That the reality will be soon known to you. And how is the reality known to us? Well, obviously it's known to us through the Quran. But those people who refuse to learn the message of Quran, they will learn it in the hard way. And the hard way would be at the time of judgment. So I think important for us to understand is that Qiyamah will not be based on anyone's expectations or anyone's own criteria, but it would be based on Allah's criteria. The nizam of the akhirat will be in the hands of Allah, as the nizam of this dunya is also in His hand. Did we not make the earth a floor and a mountain as peg, and we created you in pairs? So everything in this world is in harmony. There is harmony in this world. Everything is dovetailing the other thing, and the creation of family, which is really necessary for your life, and for this the pairs are there. And I think this is something that is Quran referring to. And we have made sleep a source of rest. So you can see how Allah has protected us. When we sleep, we are totally unconscious, yet our systems continue to function completely. I mean, that's support of our life. Even when we are sleeping, there's a kind of an entertainment. Our dreams are like, our entertainment while we are sleeping. And we have made the night a covering, and we have made the day for seeking livelihood. And we have made above 7 strong. So who really provided all this protection and this shield? The canopy that's on top of us. So these are questions Quran actually continuously throws at people, so that they begin to think that who's really made this protection canopy that's on top. And we have made a luminous lamp. The sun, a lamp, as a lamp, a source of life, Sun is important for the winds that we have, for the photosynthesis that goes on all the time, the rain, etc., etc. Without sun, life would really cease to exist. And all done by Allah just to get our perspective right. And we have sent down abundant water from the rain-laden clouds. I think all of us have experienced rain, especially in areas which are arid and dry, and especially in summers. What a welcoming and appreciating time is when it begins to rain. It's really a time of joy. It's a great sight, and when we see the rainfall. So that we bring forth with it grain and vegetation. Everything that we see in this world is working in harmony, and the harmony is for our food cycle. All this earth, this wind, this water, this sun, they all join hands so that what happens? So that we may harvest our crops. Whatever needs Allah has kept in us, He has also placed ample means to satisfy these needs. Allah created the feeling of thirst in us, and then He provided a perfect complement in form of water. And I think all of us know that nothing quenches thirst like water. So and then Quran. This is a question that Quran earlier asked. So which of the Rabb's blessing will you deny? And thick gardens. I think nothing more beautiful than a beautiful tree and a thick forest. No painting, no perfume can match the perfume of a water, the birds chirping, no music can match that. And all of this is a kind of a reminder for people that look, Allah has given all this to you as a test. Allah wants to see our attitude, our behavior. Are we thankful to Him? Are we not thankful to Him? Do we remember Him or do we not remember Him? Surely the day of decision is an appointed time. So this is the day of decision of the appointed time when the thankful and the thankless will be separated, when the good and the evil will be judged. A day when the trumpet will be blown, so you will come in multitudes, and the sky will be opened, so it will become as gates. And the mountains will be set in motion, so they will be as a mirage. So this protective canopy that Allah has given to this people of this earth will be removed. Nothing will protect people on that day except their deeds. All people will be gathered, the entire topography will be changed, the mountain will become sand, and this world will become like a flat land. Surely hell lurks in ambush. So hell is really hiding. Where is hell hiding? It's hiding behind every sin that people do. It's hiding behind every transgression. It's like hiding behind the sin and watching and waiting for its prey. An abode for the rebellious. So for the transgressors, this is going to be a terrible place to return. And who are the transgressors? The hududs and limits of Allah that Allah has put up. This is like a fence which prevents man from drifting and here and there and falling into hell. So for those people who break and transgress this fence, they will face the consequences. And that's the reason when we say Sharia literally means a straight road, a road which is the safe route to take people to the safety of paradise. Who will be abiding in it for ages? They will taste nothing in it, nothing cool in it, nor a drink. So there will be no rahat, no coolness, no happiness in this terrible place, except boiling water and pus. So the dirty, as dirty were the deeds of people in this world, the same dirty will be their punishment, a fitting recompense. They did not expect to face any accounting. So people are indifferent in this world. They are indifferent from the grip of Allah. Never thought that they will have to face accountability. They thought that they have, really, they have a free will. They can do what they want to do. They didn't really think that they have a master and that they are just servants. And they rejected our signs totally. And we have recorded everything in a book. So now taste. We will indeed add nothing to you but torment. So whatever they said, people said and did in this world, there is an audio and a video recording of everything that will be there, and it will be shown to people. People will hear and see what they did. And then the azab will continue to increase, because I think one of the things that we realize is that man gets used to any difficult condition. Even if the condition and state is very, very difficult, people do get used to it. But this azab will be different, because this azab, Quran says, will be ever increasing. Surely the God-fearing will have great achievement. Now, if you look at this temporary world, and Quran keeps also reminding us how beautiful this temporary world is, where our stay is only for a few years, one can imagine how attractive and how fascinating would be the world where people are going to live forever, and which will be given to them as a reward. Garden and grapes, and buxom maiden of matching ages, and goblets filled up to the brim. They will not hear any vain talk therein, nor lies. So there will be no irritation in paradise that one experiences when you hear something that is against our liking. This being a reward from their Rabb, abundant gift. From the Rabb of the heavens and the earth, and what is between them, the all-merciful. No one will have power to address him. On the day when the Ruh and the angel will stand in rows, they will not speak except the one who is permitted by the Rahman. He will speak what is right. So Jannat, paradise, is really a manifestation of the Rahmat of Allah, the mercy of Allah. But in Maidan Hashr, the plains where this accountability will take place, Allah will be the majestic king, and His azmat, His magnificence will be such that no one will be able to say a word in front of Him. And only those people will be able to say something whom Allah gives specific permission. That is the day that is sure to come. So whoever so desires, let him seek recourse to his Rabb. We have warned you of an approaching torment that will be inflicted on a day when one will see what his hands have sent ahead, and the disbelievers will say, "Oh, I wish I were dust." So Allah has warned of this looming day, this great day that's bound to come. Everyone will be shown his Amal Nama over there, the book of deeds that will be displayed to people. And there the situation will not be that people are not convinced, nor will there be any loss of memory. There will be a continuity in conscience. People will know what they did and why they are being given their book of deeds. And at this time, the kuffar and the disbelievers and the sinners would wish as if they were dust. Next surah is Surah An-Naziyah, and An-Naziyah means literally to pull something out, not just pull something out, but pulling out with force, and that's the literal word over here. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Wan-Naziyati Gharqa, by those who tear out with violence. So here oath is being taken on those angels who are there, who would dive down and pull the ruh of the kuffar and the disbelievers and the sinners. So when the angels come to take the ruh of such people, the ruh of such people is so frightened that it literally goes into hiding, and it goes and hides somewhere inside the body. So the angels have to dive inside and forcefully pull it out. Wan-Nashitati Nashta, and by those who gently draw out. So this means that there are different angels, and these angels would, with ease and gentleness, these angels will come, and this is referring to the ruh of those people who are righteous, who are mu'min, that the knot of their life will open very quickly, and the ruh will be easily pulled. And that's what it is about mu'min. He's all set to go. He's not really attached or engrossed in this dunya, so the ruh is all ready to go, and it's gently drawn out. So by those who gently draw out, and by those who float along smoothly. So which means that those, some angels, they will swim. These angels will very quietly and easily swim and smoothly swim, and they will do their task and then quickly take the ruh to heavens. Then proceed forward quickly, then those who regulate the affairs. So whatever the hukum is given to these angels, they fulfill it, and they fulfill it with full responsibility. The day on which everything that will be in commotion will be in violent commotion, following by the next one. So the world, today we see in this world, even with the worst earthquake that takes place, the tremors, after some time, they do subside. But on this particular day, the day of judgment, the tremors will be endless, and the entire earth will be flattened by them. On that day, hearts of people will be throbbing, their eyes downcast. So hearts will be frightened, the eyes will be down due to fear. They say, shall we indeed be returned to the former state? Is it when we are turned into decayed bones? They say that would be returning with loss. So now their questioning of these people is that whilst people may deny the hereafter, But there is certainly a fear lurking inside them. Maybe there is a chance that it is true. So there are people, who even deny the hereafter. They're not really fully convinced that there isn't going to be a hereafter. They're not convinced about that. In fact, it will only be a single harsh reprimand. Then suddenly they shall be in an open ground. So the sound of trumpet would be so harsh, it will be almost like a scolding, and everyone will be gathered in a flat ground which has no shade, no covering, and no place to hide. Has not the story of Moses reached you? Recall when his Rabb called him to the blessed valley of Tuwa. So this is just a reminder of the story of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam when he was returning to Egypt after his self-exile, and he stayed in this valley of Tuwa, where then Allah called him to the burning bush. Go to Pharaoh, indeed he has crossed all bounds, and say to him, would you like to purify yourself? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, ask him about his intention. Just look at his intention. You want to ask him, do you want to really cleanse yourself? Do you really want to purify yourself? So the basic factor is intention. Even if people are not pure, even if people are not free from sin at any time, they must have the right intention. I really want to make a change. Do you have the intention to rise above your fault, above your weakness? Then this is going to bring you to the path of right guidance. And that I shall guide you to your Rabb so that you should fear him. So if you are willing, if you have the right intention, then I will be able to guide you. And once you recognize your Rabb, as Hazrat Musa alayhi salam telling Pharaoh, once you recognize him, this humility and humbleness will come to you. So the only remedy to what? The only remedy to takabbur, to pride, to ego is that one recognizes the Creator. So he will show him the great signs, but he rejected and disobeyed. And Pharaoh recognized the truth, but he delayed in accepting it. And then finally he refused. Then he turned back striving. Then he gathered and called out. Then he said, I am your supreme Rabb. This is my domain. I am in charge. I make the rules. So Allah seized him for an exemplary punishment in the hereafter and the present world. Indeed, there is a lesson for him who fears. Is your creation more difficult or that of the sky? He has built it. He has raised its height, then made it proper, and darkened its night, and brought forth its daylight. And after that he spread out the earth. So all the ni'mat given for a period of time, then all will be wrapped up. From it he brought out its water and its meadows, and firmly fixed the mountains, a provision for you and your cattle. So when the great havoc will take place on the day when man will recall what he strove after. So people will know on that day. People will know where they spent their entire life, what their lifetime achievement was. Well, if all the time is spent in earning this dunya, then obviously it's game, set, match, it's finished, it was a bad investment, and people will recognize this on this day. And hell will be exposed for all who see. Then for the one who had rebelled and preferred the worldly life to the hereafter, then surely hell will be the abode. So end result is this. Those who are rebellious of Allah, their beloved dunya is gone now. Now they will only know a place, and that place is a terrible place called hell. Whereas for the one who fears to stand before his Rabb and restrained his self from low desires, then surely the paradise, that is the abode. So fear, I think, is important because Quran constantly refers to this. Fear is the only motivating factor which actually stops people from surrendering to these low temptations. And fear is something that also elevates the character of man and makes sure that he doesn't become a zalim, he doesn't become really a zalim and does not deprive people of their due rights. They ask you about the hour when it will anchor. In which capacity are you to tell this? So this is being told to the Prophet and through him to other people. In which capacity are you to tell this? To your Rabb is the final word about it. You are only a warner for anyone who fears it. So people was not, our Prophet ﷺ was not sent to these people to disclose the date of Qiyamah. He just came to warn people of this day of Qiyamah. The day they will see it, it will seem to them as if they did not live in this world, but only for an afternoon or for the morning thereof. So all the time in this world and in barzakh that people have spent, it will almost seem like a part of a day or maybe just a morning. The next surah is Surah Abasa. Abasa means he frowned. Again, there's a whole incidents behind this surah. Our Prophet ﷺ once was engaged in a conversation with the Sardar of Makkah, and one of his companion, Abdullah bin Maktoum, Raziyallahu anhu, he was a blind companion, and he came to our Prophet ﷺ and he asked him about some ayah from the Quran. He wanted to understand its meaning. And when our Prophet ﷺ did not respond, he continued to persist and ask our Prophet ﷺ. And this is something that annoyed our Prophet ﷺ, because he was engaged in talking to the Sardars of Makkah, and he was annoyed, and this was visible as he frowned. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Abasa wa tawalla. He frowned and turned away, because the blind man came to him. And what will make you know that maybe he will purify himself? Now, these ayahs are very sort of strong ayahs, and especially here you can see our Prophet ﷺ is being questioned. Now, after these ayahs, whenever Hazrat Maktoum Raziyallahu anhu, he would visit our Prophet ﷺ, our Prophet ﷺ would say to him, please come, welcome to the one who because of whom my Rabb reprimanded me. So our Prophet ﷺ also recognized that because of his, for a moment that he didn't give attention to him, Allah immediately reprimanded him. Please remember that Hazrat Maktoum was very close to our Prophet ﷺ. And despite being blind, he took part in a jihad. After our Prophet ﷺ, he took part in a jihad, and he was a flag bearer, and then he was martyred in one of the battles. Or take heed so that the reminder benefits him. As for him who considers himself self-sufficient, you are anxious to pursue him, while there is no blame on you if he does not attain purity. As regard to the one who comes to you striving earnestly, while he fears, to him you pay no heed. So what Quran is really telling us, and through our Prophet ﷺ, is that one who is heedless and one who is careless, you shouldn't really care about them too much. You shouldn't be too concerned about them. This is not your responsibility to pamper such people and to give in to their whims and their fancies, while you are neglecting true Muslims. So the one who is coming wanting to learn and has fear of Allah in his heart, he is more deserving of our attention, and certainly the attention of our Prophet ﷺ. Never. Indeed, this is a reminder. So whoever so wills may pay heed to it, in a book held in honor, exalted, purified, in the hands of scribes, honorable, righteous. So proud and haughty people who are turning their face, this book is not your muhtaj. That's what Quran is telling. It's an exalted, it's a purified book. It's in the hands of those scribes who are honorable and righteous. Damned is man, how ungrateful he is. Of what thing did we create him? From a drop of semen, he created him and proportioned him. Then he made the way easy for him. Later he made him die and put him in his grave. Thereafter, when he will intend, he will raise him up again. So the Rabb who has taken man through so many different stages, from his creation, from something so insignificant to a full human being with all the faculties and all these stages that he has passed through, it is no issue. It is no issue for this Rabb to make this man rise up again from the dust. No. He has not fulfilled what he had commanded him. So this is Quran is questioning. What is the matter with man? That he is not doing the action that Quran expects him to do. So let man look at his food. We pour down water in abundance. Then we split the earth splitting. Then we grew in it grain and grapes and greens and olive and date palms and thick gardens and fruits and fodder as provision for you and your cattle. So when the deafening cry occurs, that day when one will flee from his brother and from his mother and father and from his wife and son, Every one of them will be too engaged in their own affairs to care for the others. Many faces on that day will be bright, laughing, rejoicing, and many faces on that day will be stained with dust, covered by darkness. Those are the disbelievers and wicked. The next surah is Surah Takwir, and it's a very vivid description of Qiyamah, again a Makkan surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Iza shamsu kuwirat, when the sun will be folded up. Wa izan nujumun kadarat, and when the stars fall, losing their luster. And when the mountains will be set in motion. So the mountains have a function, right? They are like pegs. So the example being given over here is that, like travelers, when they move on, a caravan, when it moves on, it removes the pegs of the tent. So the caravan of humanity does not need any abode now. It needs no place of rest. It's moving on to the next life. So the pegs which were in forms of mountain are now being removed on that day. And when 10-month pregnant she-camel will be abundant. So in Arabs, such camels were very valuable. It's like we have a share today, and it's announced that this share is going to get 100% bonus. So people will really protect that share, like these Arabs will protect such camel. But the anxiety on the day of Qiyamah will be such that people will have no concern about how valuable their worldly investment is. And when the wild beasts are herded together, and the seas will be flared up, and when the soul will be arranged in categories. So the ruh will be joined back to the body. Maybe Quran referring to that the ruh will again join back to the body, or maybe the grouping of people will be taking place on that day. And when the girl child that is buried alive will be asked, bi ayyi dhanbin qutilat, for what sin was she murdered? So infant girls in the days of Jahiliyyah were so unprotected that no one would really want to claim them. And Kuffar didn't even consider burying these infant girls even as a murder. And they will be questioned about that when the girl child that was buried alive will be asked, for what sin was she murdered? And when the scrolls of deeds will be unrolled, and when the sky will be stripped off, and when the hell will be set ablaze, and when the paradise will be brought close. So final touch is being given to paradise. Then every soul shall know what it has put forward. So I swear by those stars that recede, that run their course hiding. So Quran describing this thing about appearing and disappearing of stars. And by the night when it departs, and the morning when it breathes. So you can see this very beautiful word picture that Allah is painting over here, that Allah lifts the blanket of darkness and suddenly there is light. Most surely it is a word of a noble messenger, the one possessing power and a high status with the Rabb of the thrones. The one obeyed, simultaneously trusted. So referring to Hazrat Jibreel, the messenger of the Wahi, that he was obeyed by all the angels, and there was no danger of any khiyanat because he was well trusted. And your companion is not possessed. And without doubt he saw on the clear horizon. So our Prophet ﷺ seeing Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam. And he is not a miser in describing the unseen. That it is not that what Allah revealed to him, our Prophet ﷺ would hide any part of it. So confirming that whatever was revealed on our Prophet ﷺ will be delivered to the people. Nor is it the word of the outcast shaitan. And then Quran asks this very interesting question. فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Then where are you going? This is a question that people, Quran asks to people, that you are leaving this beautiful kalam of Allah, and where are you really going? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرٌ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. It is nothing but a reminder for the worlds, for him among you who intends to go right. So who are the people who are going to look at this reminder and this, the message of this book? Those who intend to go right. Those who choose it, those who are sincere and wanting to correct. And you cannot intend to do anything unless it is so willed by Allah, the Rabb of all the worlds. So even if you need guidance, you won't just get guidance. You must pray to Allah to give you guidance. You cannot get it yourself, not just by reading, not just by getting more knowledge. Next Suratul Infitar, which is a powerful surah. I mean, all these last 30th para surahs are so powerful, and the real impact of them is when you hear a beautiful recitation of them. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is a sama'un fatarat, when the sky will be cleft as under, and when the stars will disperse, and when the seas will burst forth, and when the graves will be overturned, then no one will know what he sent ahead and what he left behind. O man, what has deceived you about your gracious Rabb? So Quran saying, don't be complacent about your gracious Rabb. Don't be complacent. Who created you, then fashioned you, then proportioned you. He composed you in whichever form He willed. How Allah made a mold of clay and gave it its finishing touches and then assembled it and made such a beautiful human being. Never, but you deny the judgment. So these self-created concepts that all will all go to paradise, these are something that is a denial of the judgment. And surely appointed over you are keepers, honorable recorders, who know whatever you do. So anyone who has such misconceptions about the hereafter, he needs to correct and understand and be responsive that Allah has placed two secretaries with us. The Kiraman Katibin, they are recording every deed that we are doing, every word that we are saying. Surely the righteous will be in a bliss, and most surely the sinners in hell, in which they will enter on the day of judgment, and they will not be able to keep away from it. And what may let you know what is the day of judgment? Again, what may let you know what the day of judgment is? A day when no one will have power to do anything for another. The command on that day will belong entirely to Allah. We'll do Surah Mutaffifin, and Surah Mutaffifin means literally the one who cheats. Not cheats in anything, but cheats in small and petty things. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Wailul lil Mutaffifin. Woe to the cheaters. Those people who shortchange, they touch the weighing balance a little bit so that it tilts into their favor. Those very small theft and very small cheatings that people do. Who, when they measure something to receive from people, take it in full, and when they measure or weigh something to give to them, give less than the due. So very alert about their own rights, about their own interests, take full, but when they are dealing with others, they do not give them their due rights. Do they not think that they will be raised up on the great day, the day when all people will stand before the Rabb of the worlds? Never. Indeed, the record of the deeds of the sinner is in Sijjin. Sijjin means kind of a narrow place, to confine someone to a very narrow place. And what may let you know what Sijjin is? A register inscribed. Woe on that day to the deniers, who deny the day of judgment, and none denies it but every sinful transgressor. When our verses are recited to him, he says, these are tales of the ancient. Now, this is a ayat which is addressed to those people who think that Quran has really become outdated. No. But that which they used to commit has covered their hearts with rust. There's a very long hadith in which Prophet ﷺ said, when a moment sins, a black dot appears on his heart. And then if he asks for forgiveness and he corrects himself, that dot is erased. Now, if he doesn't, then when he sins the next time, another dot appears, and then another dot appears, until his heart becomes totally blind. And that's what is being said over here. No, but that which they used to commit has covered their hearts. So the sins have actually covered their hearts like rust. No, indeed, they will be debarred from their Rabb on that day. Such people will be unable to come close to their Creator and be able to see Him on that day. Most surely, they will have to enter the hell. Then it will be said, this is what you used to deny. No, the record of the deeds of the righteous is in the Illiyin. And what may let you know what Illiyun is? A register inscribed, attended by those angels who are blessed with the nearness. Nearness to whom? Nearness to Allah. Indeed, the righteous will be in absolute bliss. While sitting on thrones, they shall gaze. You will recognize the freshness of bliss on their faces. They will be served with pure sealed wine to drink, the seal of which will be of musk. For this let the aspirers aspire. and it will be blended with the drink from Tasneem, a spring which will drink those who are nearest. Indeed, those who are guilty used to laugh at those who believed, and when they passed by them, they used to wink at one another. And when they went back to their family, they returned full of jest. And when they saw them, they said, "Surely these are the one who have gone astray." So you can see this, that guidance and misguidance is a very relative term, right? Even people who are misguided, they actually look at the guided people and think that they are the one who are misguided. And it really depends on where one wants to go. Guidance is about where one wants to go, and misguidance is that if you're not reaching to that. So if you want to go to this world, and this world is your destination, then anything that stops you from reaching to this world is actually misguidance. So people going to hereafter who have a destination hereafter, and those people who have a destination this world, guidance and misguidance for them will be very different things. While they were not sent as watchmen over them. So today those who believed will laugh at the disbelievers, while sitting on thrones they will look. Have the disbelievers been paid back for what they used to do? So next surah is Surah Inshiqaq. It's a surah which is setting up of the Day of Judgment. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Is a sama'un shaqqat, when the sky is split apart, and will listen to the command of its Rabb, and it must. And when the earth will be stretched, and it will cast out whatever it contains and will become empty, and will listen to the command of its Rabb as it ought to. O man, surely you are striving towards your Rabb, a painful striving till you meet him. So this striving, this kabad, this struggle is there. I mean, everyone is surviving, right? Everyone is struggling for survival. Some are struggling to and striving to stay away from sin. People are struggling and striving to actually stay away from haram. Others are striving in a different way. People who are slaves of desire and their own wealth and their own power and their position, they are also striving. But in the end, everyone will meet the Master. So as for him whose book of deeds will be given to him in his right hand, he will be called to account in an easy manner, and he will go back to his people joyfully. As for the one whose book of deeds will be given to him from behind his back. Now these people who will be sinners and kuffar, these people will pull their hands back so that they don't, because they don't want to take their amal nama. They don't want to take their book of deeds. So the result and the amal nama will be given to them from their back. Shall soon be calling for death, and will enter the blazing fire. Surely he used to live joyfully with his family. Surely he thought he would never return. No, indeed, his Rabb was watchful over him. But no, I swear by the twilight after sunset, and by the night and what it envelopes, and by the moon when it develops to full. You shall certainly ascend from stage to stage. So how step by step, gradually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and raised him to full glory. So what is wrong with them that they do not believe? Why is it that the hearts of people is not softening to this kalam? And when Quran is recited to them, they do not offer prostration. Rather, those who disbelieve deny the truth. So this is an ayat of sajda. So the reason Quran says is, the reason that they don't offer prostration to Quran is because their attention is somewhere else. And Allah is most aware of what they store. So give him the good news of a painful punishment. But those who believed and did righteous deeds will have a reward that will never be interrupted. The next surah that we are doing is Surah Buruj. It means towers or turrets or fortification. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Was-sama is Zatil Buruj, by the night, the one having constellations, and by the promised day, and the bearer of witness in those witnessed. Cursed will be the people of the trench, filled with fire, fed by the fuel, when they were sitting by it, and were watching what they were doing with the believers. So who were these people who made these trenches to burn people of faith? Well, there are different ulama have said different things about them. There could be some people in Yemen, it could be also referring to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, and many such stories that are there. They punished them for nothing but that they believed in Allah, the Almighty and worthy of all praise, the one to whom belongs the kingdom of heavens and the earth, and Allah is a witness over everything. Surely those who persecuted the believing men and believing women, then did not repent, for them there is a torment of hell, and for them there is a torment of burning. As for those who believed and did righteous deeds, for them there are gardens beneath which rivers flow. That is a great success. Surely severe is the grip of your Rabb. So people, the one who is doing zulm on people, Quran is saying they cannot really flee from Allah. His grip is strong, His grip is mighty. And Quran says, Inna batsha rabbika lashadid. Surely the grip of your Rabb is mighty and strong. It's just a matter of time. Surely He originates and repeats. And He is the most forgiving and most loving, the master of the throne, the glorious, the doer of what He intends. So when He decides to do something, none can check Him, none can stop Him. Has there come to you the story of the forces of Pharaoh and Samud? But those who disbelieve are in denying, and Allah has surrounded them from all sides. But it is the glorious Quran, it is preserved in tablet, which is Lawh-e Mahfuz, that this original Quran is preserved in these tablets. Surah Tariq, again a Makkan surah, Tariq literally means the one that comes at night. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, was Sama'i wa Tariq, I swear by the sky and At-Tariq. Wama adraka ma Tariq, and what will make you know what is At-Tariq? An-Najmul Saqib, the star of piercing brightness. So this is referring to a star of which pierces a meteoroid, like a meteoroid pierces darkness, referring to that star. There is no soul, but there is a protector over it. So let man consider of what he is created. He is creating of spouting water. So Quran actually just reminding people, see your modest beginning that comes out from between the lion and the chest bones. Surely He is powerful to bring him back. So man created out of a single cell, and then see how he grows up, and Allah can recreate him out of that single cell again. On a day when all secrets will be searched out. So like people will emerge from their graves, in a similar manner their chest will also be opened, and every intention that is buried deep down inside the chest of these people will be taken out. And He will have neither strength nor supporters. By the sky, one which returns. So this is a Quran referring to a returning sky. Now returning sky is so helpful. I mean, it's really supporting life. It's like vapors travel upward and then they are returned back to this earth in form of rain. The heat that goes upward, it's held down into the atmosphere. So this is referring to this, by the sky which returns. And the earth which splits, this is a decisive word, and it is not a thing of amusement. So this is not a book of gupshup or intellectual discussion, it's a book of action. Surely they are devising plots, and I devise a plot. So grant the disbelievers the respite, and deal with them gently for a while. The next surah, Surah Ayah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la. Praise the name of your Rabb, the Most High. So this is a hukum of doing tasbih of the name of your Rabb, who created then proportion, and who determined a measure then guided, and who brought forth pastures, then turned it into blackened stubble. Soon we will make you recite, then you will not forget, except what Allah wills. Indeed, He knows what is manifest and what is hidden. And we will facilitate you for a state of ease. So again, it was difficult for our Prophet ﷺ initially when he would get wahi, the revelation that were coming onto him. It was a very difficult, physically difficult thing for him. But Quran says it will become easy for him to receive the wahi, and as we see later on, it became a lot easier. So if reminding prophets. So Quran tells people, keep counseling. Counseling will always benefit people. Don't get discouraged if you don't see any change in people whom you are counseling. Soon the one who fears will observe the advice, and it will be avoided by the most wretched one, who will enter the biggest fire. Then he will neither die therein nor live. Success is surely achieved by him who purifies himself. So this longing, these desires, these attractions that Allah has kept inside us, people will be successful if they can contain them, if they can check them and make sure that they don't exceed their limits. And pronounces the name of his Rabb, then offers prayers. But you prefer the worldly life. And this is the key issue. The issue of man is that he is not willing to take the worldly loss, because there is fikr only of today. Concern is only of today. Concern is not of future. While the hereafter is much better and much more durable. Indeed, this is in the earlier scripture, the scripture of Ibrahim and Musa. The next surah, Surah Ghashiyah. Ghashiyah is one of the names of Qiyamah, and it literally means the one that covers. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Hal ataka hadithul Ghashiyah. Has there come to you the description of the overwhelming event? Many faces that day will be humbled, laboring, exhausted. So people will be dejected on that day, bowing down because their effort, their labor, the hard work that they didn't really benefit them at all. It's like, you work very hard and then you see failure as a result, and that's going to be the situation of such people on that day. They will enter into scorching fire. They will be made to drink water from a boiling spring. There will be no food for them except from a thorny plant that will neither nourish nor satisfy hunger. Many faces that day will be happy, well pleased with their endeavors, in lofty gardens in which they will not hear any absurd talk. Because in this world, such people stayed clear of useless talk and were busy in these useful things, so they will not hear any absurd talk in paradise also. In it there is a flowing spring. In it there are elevated couches and goblets well placed and cushions arrayed and carpets spread out. So do they not see the camel, how they are created? Camel, the desert, the ship of the desert. Everything about a camel is tailor-made for the desert. Its size is big. It can go great distance without any water, but it is gentle and can be domesticated. And the sky, how it is raised high, and the mountains, how they are installed, and the earth, how it is spread out. So keep preaching. You are only a preacher. So Quran is actually just making this clear. You can only bring it to the attention of people. You really cannot force it down on them. You cannot make them change. Change will happen if they want to change. You are not a taskmaster set up over them, but the one who turns away and disbelieved, then Allah will punish him with the greatest torment. Surely towards us is their return. Then it is our job to call them to account. So returning to Allah is not just returning to Him, because then Allah is going to take hisab of such people. So barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quran al-Azim wa nafana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim.